Omicron's webinars feature best practices and best-of-breed applications for the users of the OSIsoft PI System. Welcome to this new episode in our series. For more information, visit us at www.omicron.com.
Welcome to today's webinar sponsored by Omicron, a partner of TrendMiner. Omicron's webinars series are designed to promote best practices for the OSIsoft PI System and best-of-breed applications like TrendMiner, which you will see today. I'm Bernard, your moderator, and our presenter today are Usman Iftikhar and John O'Connell, both from TrendMiner. And they will be speaking with us from the United States. One is in Houston and the other one is on the East Coast. We thank you for joining us and hope you will find this webinar both informative and valuable. Today, we are addressing the best practices around data analysis for users of the OSIsoft PI System in the process industries. This practice has taken a whole new meaning in the age of digital transformation. So during the webinar, our speakers will present TrendMiner, which is a solution which integrates seamlessly with the PI system and embodies industry best practices, as well as very clever tactics for self-serve data analysis for all the knowledge worker in the process industries. So before I hand them the microphone, I'd like to go through some tips. We will keep it to 30 minutes, and we will follow it by a 10-minute Q&A. To ask a question, just simply use the chat box and you can queue in your question throughout the presentation. At the end, we will review them one by one. If we don't have time to finish all the questions, we'll find a way to get you some answers in the follow-up email that you will receive. The presentation itself will be made available for download along with a recording. You will receive an email in the next few days. And we also would like you, when you exit the webinar at the end, to consider rating it and giving us your feedback. It's very important to us. This is how we improve ourselves over time in delivering these webinars. So without any further delays, I'd like to introduce both presenters today who will, each one of them will provide you with a short bio as part of the presentation. So John, it's all yours.
Well, thank you, Bernard. I really appreciate your putting on this presentation with us today. I want to thank all the attendees for coming today. We really appreciate your time very much. We find ourselves very fortunate to have a partner such as Omicron, and we look forward to a very long and mutually prosperous relationship with Omicron, and to obviously to best serve you, our customers. Again, thank you very much. What I'd like to do is I'll first start off with a little bit about myself. My name is John O'Connell. I am based in the Boston area, and I am the global partner manager for TrendMiner. I've been with the company since January 1st of this year. It's a brand new program to bring partners on, such as Omicron, and we're looking to grow through our partnerships. So it's a very strategic part of our business, and our goal is to partner up with world-class companies, again, such as Omicron, to provide our customers the best possible sales and service experience. I'd like to give you a little background on the company itself. TrendMiner itself was founded in 2007 and funded primarily through private equity. In 2018, we were purchased by Software AG, which is a billion-dollar software company out of Germany. This gives us much more stability and much more reliable funding. Software AG is absolutely dedicated to the growth of TrendMiner. We are meeting that growth by double and triple digits every year, and looking forward to many more years of that to come. What is TrendMiner? TrendMiner is all about democratizing industrial analytics. What does that mean? Well, there's one thing to just have data. The other thing is you've got to be able to act on it in real time and act on it intelligently through good process analytics. And what we mean by democratizing analytics is bringing the analytic capabilities to the subject matter experts of the process. And who are they? They are the process engineer and the process operator. We bring the analytic capabilities with our tools to those operators and engineers so that they can act in real time and make sure that they're putting out the best possible product that is available to them. Analytics for years has been looked at as the domain of the data scientist, and data scientists are overworked. There's a lot going on with them. We feel that over 80% of the analytics issues that face processes today can be solved at the process engineer and operator level, and with the right tools. And again, we believe TrendMiner is that right tool, and we'll be showing you that in our demo. What are the challenges that are facing companies today? They want to be able to predict maintenance. No one wants, an unplanned shutdown. They want cost reduction. They want improved quality. They want to be able to do root cause analysis on why did something go out of spec. And they want real-time monitoring to ensure that you ultimately do not go out of spec, or to give you a warning when you're about to. TrendMiner gives you the tools necessary to meet those goals. Companies today are KPI driven, all the way from their KPIs for the operator, all the way up to the C-suite, and they all roll up. And again, what we want to provide you is the tools to meet your KPIs and understand your KPIs and how they work and how they operate, and how they affect the overall business, because this is a global arena that we're going through. And we have to find and use the value of our data. It's not just collecting data, it's being able to act on it, and act on it intelligently. Because we are facing ever-changing market dynamics. If this coronavirus has taught us nothing, it's that the markets are changing and we have to adapt quickly to them. And to do that, we have to understand our processes. TrendMiner, we get our data from time series. We deal with time series data. We get it from historians and then IoT platforms such as OSIsoft cloud services, PTC ThingWorks, Microsoft Azure, Hadoop. Historians, obviously the Pi server. We've been a long time Pi partner. They were one of the first historians that we built a native interface to. We also deal with AspenTech, Honeywell, Yokogawa, GE, and others. And we put asset structure to that data, using OSIsoft asset framework, as well as our own asset framework. And bringing all that data together with context, and the context coming from Pi batch, Pi event frames, LIMS systems, shift logbooks, and ERP systems such as SAP preventative maintenance. And all of that comes together in a dashboard, an easy to configure dashboard. And these dashboards can be personally configured, so you get the notifications that you need for the process as you're going through your day. TrendMiner is divided into 3 hubs. All 3 hubs come under the same subscription license. Trend Hub is really the heart of the system, where we do the analysis to find root cause of issues. We can also build in monitors to get early warnings of what's going on, and then we can provide predictions of what is likely to happen. Then we have Context Hub, which adds, as I mentioned earlier, contextual data to continuously improve our performance by bringing in other context data to better understand our process. And then lastly, Dash Hub, which is our dashboards to visualize for the operational storytelling. That's all I've got for now. I just want to give you a brief introduction, and we'll move over to the Usman and the demo at this point. Usman, go take it away.
Thank you, John. So let me go ahead and get started. Start with my intro so you guys get to know who I am. My name is Usman Iftikhar. My background is in chemical engineering. I graduated with a BS back in 2010 from Rowan University, which is in the northeastern region of the United States. Soon after that, I began my career in research and development, working in FCC catalyst technology with a startup company called Rive Technology. After a couple of years of working there, I took on a process engineering role with Lummis Technology, working in olefins and polymerization technology. And later part of my career at Lummis Technology, I became interested in data analytics. Having worked with process data, manufacturing data, this was something that really interested me. So I came across TrendMiner and I joined TrendMiner back in October of 2019. So I have two different demo scenarios prepared for you today. The first one, it will be looking at trying to understand the root cause behind abnormal behavior in our flare system. This will go into some very powerful functionality of TrendMiner. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I'll start off by presenting some background and give you the process description and also describe the type of analysis that I will conduct, followed by doing the actual demonstration in the TrendMiner environment. So our background on this case is that we're trying to determine the root cause of a spike that we see of gases going to our flare system. So this is a continuous process. And what we're seeing here over on the right-hand side in our picture is that we have an increased gas flow to the flare system. When we have this type of abnormal behavior, it can cause other problems. So we also want to know is that this is one peak for here, for instance. We need to know how many peaks there were and what was the intensity of such peaks. So the analysis that I'll be conducting is answering the question, what has happened in my process history? I also need to answer the question when it has happened and how frequently has this type of behavior occurred in the past. Once I'm able to answer those descriptive and discovery type of analysis questions, I will then go into determining the root cause for it. So that's the diagnostic analysis that I'll be performing. Once I am able to understand all of it, I will now then be able to take appropriate actions based on that, so setting up some monitors. So with that said, let me go dive right into TrendMiner application. This is a web-based application. As you can see, I have a unique URL at the top. And I'm starting off in my dashboard view where I have some important KPIs, and you can see the different types of tiles that I have already laid out for what I'm calling my flare dashboard. So the very large tile that you see, this is the trend that I'm obviously interested in. Along the right-hand side in the bottom, you can see an event telling me over the last 8 hours how many incidents have occurred and whatever I'm describing the incidents to be. And then I also see some status tile telling me that this operating zone is functioning okay. There's some warning signs here. This is on hold, for instance, at the bottom. And then there's another inspection report over the last 8 hours. So these are some of the different types of tiles you can set up in TrendMiner. So my concern here is to do with this trend, the large tile. I can click on this trend and it will take me directly into Trend Hub where I can perform almost all of my analysis. So I will go ahead and load this trend into TrendMiner. This is the trending part of it and also where a lot of the analysis will be conducted. So here I can see that when I load the screen in this part of the screen, the first third part of the hour, I'm running at relatively stable conditions. My flow is somewhere around 40 cubic meters. And then suddenly I see this abnormal behavior occur in this part of the screen over on the right-hand side. So for the last 15 minutes or so of this, I see the flare, the gas is going to the flare spike. So the fluid goes from somewhere around 40 cubic meters all the way up to 65 cubic meters per hour. So I will now need to understand, is this the first time that I'm seeing something like this in my process data? If not, then I need to know, has this happened before and how frequently has this been happening? And also where in the history has this happened? So, and I can also see this little speech icon right here, context bubble. This tells me that this is tied to this component and this is an anomaly that occurred. This event started at this time and ended at this time, the duration for this event. And the person who first noted is my colleague, Router Daniels. I can also begin collaboration with him and ask him what has happened. So instead of asking him, let's go ahead and determine that for ourselves, what has happened here. So since this is the most important part of the pattern in this entire window, what I'm going to do is give some extra emphasis to this pattern. To do that, I have selected this part of the pattern. I will add some weight to it. So this is just giving some extra emphasis to only really put more focus here as opposed to the rest of the focus chart. And from here, what I want to do is I'm trying to determine if this has happened before. So I will perform a similarity search, which is looking for pattern that resemble this the most. But once I click on this, there are two parameters that I will need to provide here. So the first one being the match on absolute values, and I wanted to match on the at least a 60% match quality. So any trends that are below 60%, I'm not going to look at those events. So once I click find similar situations, it's going to go back in its history, whether it's 5 years or 10 years worth of history, it's going to go back and try to look for those events that are most similar. And these 38 events that it found very quickly, these are all broken down into different bins and buckets. This is sort of like broken down into a histogram. And you can see that as I go down, my quality score decreases, but my number of results increase, especially in the 60 to 65. This is where I have more than 50% of my results there. Likely, these are not very good results. So seeing is really believing. So what I want to do here is look at this results, the 85 to 90%, and see what does that actually look like. Well, so this is an 88% match that occurred on December 28th. Let's see what that looks like. So if I add that on, I see a pretty good match. This is the dotted line, a second layer that appeared here. And in this part of the screen, this really is the important part where I'm interested in. Well, I can see that this event has occurred 38. And also, I'm going to quickly highlight at the bottom, you can see these blue indicators at the bottom of this historical trend, where all those 38 different events have occurred. And if I keep scrolling to the right, you can see that there's one blue line that also has an additional dotted trend line right above it, just telling me that this is the event that I have overlaid at the top here. Well, what I want to know is, instead of just matching it on the highest quality, what I'm interested in is finding the intensity of these spikes. So if I click on this ellipsis, the 3 vertical dot menu, I can perform a calculation. So I want to know for these 38 results, what was the maximum feed or the fluid that went to the flare system. So I can select my flare tag, and I can select the maximum value operator and provide a name for this calculation and the units that I'm working with. So TrendMiner will now go ahead and perform that calculation for all the 38 different results. And now I will sort according to the calculation. And you can see that the calculation is now, results are now ranked in increasing order, and I can see I can rearrange the order by clicking on sort by calculation again. So now I have the highest values at the top. So the maximum that I was able to get was 72 to 73. Let's see what that looks like. So if I go on here and click on the plus icon, it will add a third layer. Let's add maybe 2 more of the highest ones. So now I have, I think, 4 different layers on here. And what I want to do is understand what is causing this type of behavior to occur. But before I get to that, let me go ahead and save this search. And what will happen is anything that I save becomes available for monitoring. So TrendMiner will serve as a watchdog for me. And as you can see, that this event has occurred back in October, November, December, and I'm looking at events in February. So I don't want months to go by again without noticing something has happened. So anything that can be saved in TrendMiner is also available for setting up a monitor. So here I can say it's a flare spike. Save this search, and this now becomes available. So if I go under my monitor here, let's go ahead and set up that, turn on this monitor. So all I have to do is click on this monitor, and now TrendMiner is asking, what actions would you like to take when something like this happens again. So I want TrendMiner to send me an email directly to my inbox, and I'll provide that email here. And when I'm providing this email, best practice is to write some concrete actions to take here. So here I can say flare spike occurred. I can say prepare for problems, for instance. So this is the message that I would like to receive when this type of event occurs. I can go ahead and save this. And next time this occurs, TrendMiner will send me an alert. So let me come back under my tags. So my next question was, I want to understand what is causing this type of behavior in my Flare system. To do that, I will need to run a correlation analysis, which will look at the correlation between this green tag on my screen and everything that's been brought over from my historian. To do that, we have a tool called Recommendation Engine. Once I click that, it will begin to run the correlation analysis. What it will do, it will run, you can see already, it's already got 30 or 40 plus correlations. It's running a correlation that is common between all the different layers that I have on my screen. And it is also taking into account time shift. So it's taking a correlation at time 0, then minus 1 minute, minus 2 minutes, all the way up to 60 minutes. So you can see it's already gone up to 100 plus results. Let's go ahead and begin looking into these results. And this is also a place where the subject matter expertise will really come in handy to know which tags make sense and which tags do not make sense. So if I scroll through the list, I have quite a number of different results, and I can already tell that some of them do not make sense just because of, this is a process that I'm working in, and I know this has something to do with somewhere else, other part of the plant. But the tag that I'm interested in, one thing that kind of gives it away, besides knowing that this is the process that I work on, is the nomenclature here. So I'm working with a tag called TM-PLA. So here I have a tag that's very similar, TM-PLA. This is one indicator that this is directly tied to this, the part of the plant that I'm working in. So I can go ahead and add that on. We also have the option to filter down our expression. If I type in just TM-PLA, save that setting, and if I close it out and then run it again, this will now filter down the results. So instead of having hundreds of different results that I have, I'm now only left with one other tag. Let's turn that on and see what that looks like on the screen. So here, the TrendMiner correlation engine said that it was a negative correlation of about 94%. And this is exactly what I can see. This is one of the valves that, as this valve shuts down or closes down, I begin to see a spike in my gases to the flare system. So this is some of the steps that gives us an idea of what is causing this type of problem. We can even go ahead and set up a monitor on this type of pattern as well. But I've already set up one pattern, so I'll spare this one. But this is gives you an idea of what is the root cause of this problem. In real life practice, you will continue to ask the question, why? So why is this valve closing down? And then you can possibly continue to drill even further until you get to the actual root of the problem. The other thing that we can do is potentially look into our control system and take some steps to correct that, perhaps not close this valve as quickly as done in this case. So coming back over into our demo to recap what it is that we have done in this demonstration scenario, is that we had reported a flare spike in our flare system. And we also saw how we were able to collaborate with our colleagues and share knowledge. We started off from our dashboard, the dashboard which can also be shared with our other colleagues and for reporting purposes. And we identified multiple different spikes that occurred in the past using the similarity search-based functionality, which is based on pattern recognition search capability. And we also identified the severity of those peaks. Next, we identified the root cause using the recommendation engine, which ran correlation between this tag and everything else that was available to me. And then we also set up a monitor on that. But the next demonstration that I have is around setting up, looking at a batch process and setting up live monitoring and prediction. So here is a process where it's a batch process. I'm somewhere in the middle of running this batch process. This is live data coming in. We want to be able to identify the best production batches, quality of 47% or greater. And we also want to capture a number of those behaviors. And this is so I can reproduce that same behavior. Next time I go out of bounds of that ideal behavior that I construct, I want TrendMiner to alert me. So in this case, I have a digital tag that's telling me whether my batch is active or inactive. I'm also going to select that and find all of my different batches, then find out what was my maximum concentration during each one of my batch, and select the best batches and set up a fingerprint of golden batches around that. And I'm going to then take that fingerprint and overlay it on a live data that's coming in, and see if I'm already out of bounds or not. And finally, I will do predictive analysis, try to see what is the likelihood of this process being staying in the golden batch that I set up. So this is live data that is coming in. So I am not sure at this point whether the batch has started, it's ended, or it's somewhere in the middle. So let's go ahead and find that out. So I'm going to dive into the TrendMiner application. Here are the tags that I have already preloaded. This black tag right here, trend, is telling me that what my batch is active at this moment. This green tag here is the one that's the concentration. If I click on this tag here, it drops a secondary y-axis. And this is what I'm trying to find out, is what was my maximum concentration during this batch. And for the batches that had the maximum concentration, gather a number of those and create a fingerprint from it. And you can see underneath here at the bottom of my main chart, I have a number of different, maybe hundreds of different batches. So let's go ahead and select all the other batches. And I'm going to toggle on the other parameters in this batch as well, the temperature and the level in this. So now I have 4 different tags shown here. I'm going to perform a value-based search. First, I'm going to find all of the intervals when my batch was active by selecting the active tag and setting it equal to active. And this condition must be true for 20 minutes. So just in case if someone hit an active button by accident and later on turned it off, I don't want to count that. I want to make sure that my batch is running. So let's go ahead and find all those events. So TrendMiner very quickly went back and found 3,200, nearly 3,300 different results over the last approximately 6 months, starting from February 4th of this year until today. And these results are broken down into months, starting from February, just like a histogram bucket again. So what here I'm interested in is, for these 3,200 plus results, I want to know what was the maximum concentration that I was able to achieve. So if I click on and add calculation on top of these search results, I'm going to select the concentration. And again, I'm looking for my maximum value of the concentration. So here I'm selecting maximum concentration, and my units will be weight %. And I'm going to set calculation for that. So this calculation is performed. And now if I click on sort by that calculation, it will now be sorted here. And I can see that there are a handful of results that are very, very low. And the ones that I'm interested in are toward the bottom of this list. Let's go ahead and select a number of those different results. And I'm going to select the filtering capability here, select results, and I'm going to select which ones that I'm interested in. So I'm interested in the bins from 47 to 50%. So once I have selected that, I can go ahead and filter those 352 results and select search again. And you can see that everything that did not meet the criteria, for instance, this one is grayed out. And this one, at some point in my batch, I did reach a 47% concentration. So it kept that result. Let's go ahead and search just those. And I should now see 352 results. And there they are. So let's go ahead and begin to put on a fingerprint for this. I'm going to select this one. And let's go select a couple more on top of this. Sorry. Yep. Layer a second one on top of this. And let's select something from more recent. So I have selected at least 3 different results here. And now let's assume that this is the behavior that defines our, it also has some error room for us. And this defines our best batch production. Let's go ahead and build a fingerprint around this. And I'm going to remove the active tag, which is the Boolean tag. And notice what will happen if I go into my fingerprint mode now. As soon as I click my fingerprint, it will capture that the minimum and the maximum at each instance for those profiles. Let's go ahead and give this a name and click Save. And I also want TrendMiner to alert TrendMiner at what point it should begin to monitor that behavior. So I will also save this search when I was active and call that my batch active search and save that as well. And let's now go ahead and set up a monitor. So whenever we deviate from this behavior, TrendMiner should let us know. So if I go under my monitoring, I see here something called BA Golden Batch. This is the one that I just set up. Let's toggle it on. And TrendMiner is now asking at what point should this fingerprint be or this alert be triggered. I want TrendMiner to let me know when I deviate from this and begin detecting when I'm in the active state here. So once I'm active, TrendMiner will begin to monitor for this for me. And if I go out of bounds, TrendMiner will take the appropriate actions that I had set up here or that I will set up here. So again, if this is important, have an email sent to you as we did in our previous demonstration. I'll go ahead and save that and keep it only to send an inbox, which is my personal inbox in TrendMiner. Let's come back to our trend and let's quickly overlay our fingerprint on top of our live result and see where that is. And I'm going to clean up my layers. So just as I'm starting fresh, I'm going to hit the live mode. So this will now take me directly into my live data. So I'm approximately 52 minutes into this data, and this is the data that I have. It's data is still being pulled in. Let's go ahead and overlay our fingerprint on top of this. So if I select my fingerprint, the BA Golden Batch, I'm going to add it to the view. And you can kind of see that my blue tag, for instance, at times is going out of bounds. It's the level tag. I'm not really interested in it all that much. My green tag, which is the concentration, that's sort of on the middle to lower part of it. But as I continue to go in my time, it appears to be going out of bounds here. So this kind of gives me an indication of what is likely to happen. But let's go ahead and also set up our predictive mode on top of this to confirm this solid green line, whether at the end it will go into this highlighted area or will it fall below. So if I go into my predictive mode capability here, TrendMiner is asking is how many different batches should I select or look for in the past. So I want TrendMiner to look for 3 different patterns that are at least of 70% match quality. But I am only concerned with the green tag, which is my concentration. If I now turn on my predictive mode, it now has it will now add those 3 additional layers on top of this, and it will tell me at the end what is it likely to happen. So you can see that these are the dotted lines that appeared for all 3, but what we're really interested in is this green tag, which is a concentration. So here is telling me that based on my historical data with a 70% match quality, the most likely outcome is that I will fall outside of the highlighted area, which is the golden batch fingerprint that I had set up. And in best scenario, I was able to reach about 44 some percent concentration. So let's come back over into our slides and quickly recap what it is that we have just done here. So we were able to find good batches, starting off with our value-based search. We were able to identify our batches, and we also performed a calculation to look for those best production batches. And we gathered those and created a golden fingerprint from that to find the optimal operating range for our batches. And then we took that batch, or fingerprint, and we overlaid it to our live process data to see if we are within bounds or if we are deviating from that behavior already or not. And to confirm that, we also set up a predictive mode to make sure, or to give us a most likely outcome based on our historical data. Where does TrendMiner think that we are likely to end up? So this concludes the demonstration part of it, and open up for questions.
Thank you very much, Osman. We have some questions queued up, and we can go into Q&A mode right now.
Mm-hmm.
First question is, I only want to monitor the event, which is about 80% match. is it doable with TrendMiner?
Yes, so let me just show that here. When I set up my monitor here for my golden batch, there is a detection threshold. So here I can set that up. Instead of being a 90%, I can scale that down to 80%. So if it goes outside the bounds by 20%, or if the match is less than 80%, then this will be triggered.
Okay, very good.
So yes, that is doable.
Thanks. Next question. And what is the algorithm we use for similarity search?
The algorithms in TrendMiner are proprietary. So unfortunately, that's the information I'm not able to give out.
Okay, thanks. Next question. What does early indicator mean?
Early indicator, this is something that you must have seen right here when I ran the recommendation engine. Let me pull that up. So this is the early indicator that the question is being asked about. What this means is early indicator is something that happened more than 10% of the screen size available. So currently I'm looking at approximately 1 hour window here, and this entire window is approximately 1 hour. And this event that TrendMiner recommended, the blue trend, which is stated as early indicator, and has a negative 94% correlation. This is approximately more than 10% of the window size. So window is 1 hour, so this will be more than 6 minutes that it's detecting. So early indicator is anything that's more than 10% of the window size shown.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, I believe, or no, we have two more. How does TrendMiner conduct the correlations?
So the correlation that's conducted here by running this recommendation engine is using the Pearson correlation. So that's a statistical method that can be looked up. And how it actually goes back and detects, again, is the proprietary algorithm that it's using. But the correlation is Pearson correlation.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Can TrendMiner analyze event frames from AF analytics?
Yes. So the event frame and AF structure, John had alluded to earlier. We still have a little bit more time, so maybe I can quickly show what that looks like. I can go into my Trend Hub here and open up my Context Hub, which is analogous to EF from Pi. And let's just go ahead and let me see if I can pull up something of interest from all of this. So here I'm pulling up some scenario where I have all of my event frame data related to some process that I'm running, and it's I have it pulled up into my Gantt chart mode. And if I want to now begin to analyze, for instance, whatever this event I'm calling here, if I click on this event, it gives me all the additional information that it is attached on the asset level, reactor 103. And I also have some additional physical properties that are coming in from my lab system, third-party system that are auto-generated. So I can go through that, and also gives me the same information as I shown before, the time for the event. And here we also have collaboration that I was mentioning, that this was generated by LIM system, but my colleague Nick here is asking a question. I'm not sure why viscosity was high. But if we wanted to analyze this, we can go ahead, click under options, and open this up and begin to analyze this in Trend Hub itself. So I will select the relevant components for this. So I just randomly pull this up. What's this one? PR. Yeah, so if this was the event, I can go ahead and load in all the tags and begin to perform my analysis. And this really shows the power of being able to connect your AF and directly begin to visualize in Trend Hub and perform your analysis.
We don't have any more questions. John, Usman, thank you very much for this great presentation. John, would you like to take a few seconds to close out this webinar today?
Yes, I would, Bernard. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time and effort that you've put into this presentation. And thank you, Usman, for putting on a fantastic demo. I just want to do a quick wrap up on TrendMiner, and why would anyone be interested in TrendMiner? We were designed for the process industries. Our founders came out of the chemical industry, so they understand process very well and understand what the needs of the process operators and engineers really are. We've built it to be an easy and intuitive product to use. We're a global company supported by part of Software AG, which is over 50 years in business, and we've been rolled out by some of the leading companies in the process industry. We're still a young company, but even though we're part of a larger company, but young, nimble, and responsive. And most of all, our focus is on customer success. We have a team of customer success managers, as well as top-notch partners such as Omicron, to help us ensure that our customers get the best experience possible. Bernard, thank you again for your time and putting this together. We really appreciate it.
So I want to thank you, John, and Usman for preparing this webinar for us. I want to thank all the participants for being with us, and I hope this was valuable, and we will see you again on our next episode of that webinar series. Anyone interested to continue the discussion, here are some names, emails. Feel free to contact us, and we'll be happy to sit down with you and review in more detail based on the specifics of your own use cases. Please don't forget to rate the webinar as you exit. Any comments, good or bad, we like them because this is how we improve ourselves. You'll receive, like I said before, an email with the link to the presentations and the recorded webinar shortly. If you like this, well, subscribe to our marketing list so you can receive future invitations for these webinars. Thank you very much. The webinar is closing now.
Thank you for listening to this webinar replay. For more information, visit us at www.omicron.com or contact us at omicron@omicron.com. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you like the content.